It's time for Dart Talk. Brought to you by thedartzone.com. Stay in the zone. Thedartzone.com is an official Cosmo distributor and Windy City Fabricators, America's premier fabricators of orthotics and prosthetics. And Redwood Darts, America's newest tungsten darts. Stand straight and tall and hit them all. Redwood Darts. And now, here are your hosts, Mystery Mark and Steve P.
Dart Talk carries the Internet Broadcast Rating TVD, a broadcast that is specifically designed to be viewed or heard by the darting community, and therefore may be incomprehensible to other lesser mammals. Darter discretion advised.
Okay, welcome to Dart Talk.
Welcome.
Happy 3rd of July.
Yes.
Heidi-ho.
Dart Talk brought to you by the Dart Zone.
Stay in the zone.
TheDartZone.com is an official Cosmo distributor. Also, many thanks, Windy City Fabricators and Redwood Darts. Hello to everybody around the world in the chat room listening to the podcast on iTunes, TuneIn.com, Stitcher.com. Steve Penunzielman with Mystery Mark and Chat Room Girl.
We should be done just in time for anybody that wants to go see some fireworks.
I'm telling you, it's hard to do a show when people don't show up.
Mhm.
I don't.
Yeah.
I can
I
work
showed
around.
up.
I can't talk because I've been there.
Yeah.
How come I'm always on time?
'Cause
Maybe
you live here.
yeah.
Do you
I don't live
do
here.
Well, not
I'll be
literally.
quiet.
Anyway,
Nice.
we got a lot to get to. We're going to have Callie West on after the first break in the show. I'm dying to talk to Callie. As a tournament player, you know, I've seen her a lot at tournaments, but I never seem to get a chance to see the women play, much less talk to them much. So there'll be a chance to get to know Callie. I'm looking forward to that. I said I posted on Facebook a link to the show, and I said we had some news and analysis. So
Do you want to start a disclaimer before we get to this news and
let's
analysis?
disclaim any and all things real and unreal.
The views and opinions expressed by guests on Dart Talk do not necessarily reflect the thoughts or opinions of the hosts, our sponsors, any official Dart sanctioning organization, and Post Hoc Ergo Propter Hoc, any and all spelunkers, debunkers, raconteurs, roustabouts, technocrats, hepcats, cat ladies, Lady Gaga, the Four Seasons, the Three Stooges, the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences, hipsters, kibitzers, hellions, the fickle finger of fate, or Tom Waits.
And so, okay, we disclaim everything.
Yes.
We the love of my life wrote us a new disclaimer.
Oh,
Just
really?
whipped one up off the top of her head. So
All right.
last week I forgot it. This week she made a point of handing it to me, saying, "Well, now you don't have to use it." I'm like, "No. I was going to have you, pre-record it before the show, but we didn't have time because we were interviewing the guys behind Webcam Darts.
right.
And so we're going to have them on next week if I can,
We'll have the interview up, yeah.
Yeah, hopefully it came out okay. Skype, I don't know. Skype needs to.
Well, it wasn't really Skype, though,
Well,
after it was all said and done.
yeah, that's true. I don't know.
Whatever.
I don't know. These
was-
remote hookups can be
Yeah.
somehow.
Well, plus you got 5 people all chatting at the same time,
Yeah, there was a lot of stepping on.
Yeah,
a lot of
it's
stepping
not-
on. We'll see if we can clean it up. No, it was an interesting conversation,
Yeah.
and it sort of proves my point. Well, first, I will say that after your review of
Okay,
Webcam Darts last week, I set up a board,
Yeah.
hooked up a webcam, downloaded the little Google plugin, and actually played a game with one of the guys who runs the online league. And I was amazed at how great it worked, especially compared to how it was the last
Totally
time.
right.
Its last iteration, I didn't even think was playable. And I didn't think it was really worth the time. And now I'm like, wow, the way they have it set up now, this is totally awesome. And I think it was Andy was saying, he just likes the fact that if he feels like having a game, he could just turn on his computer and play
At
somebody
any time during the day.
and not worry about it. You know,
Right.
these guys, they're pretty good dart players. They're pretty experienced dart players, which is the point that I thought they're proving is that players need to have more than
Games.
just a stake in
Yeah.
how things are run, because it's the players that know how things should be done. And people that used to play or played in a beginner league 20 years ago don't always know what's best for a tournament, what's best for a league, what's best for career progression, what's best for promoting the sport, what's best for growing the sport. And here's these guys
Right.
just cooking this up on their own for free, right?
Mhm.
For no money, and not really having any ambition other than, let's see if we can get
Just to
something
play some
cool
darts.
working so we could play darts. And now they've got, 16,000 games played
Since
so far this
January.
year.
Since yeah.
And,
Well, and
everybody.
the fact that 24/7 there's people in the lobby.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, if it continues to grow, I can't think of it as not being like a fantastic thing, especially I'm thinking for youth players, right? We've got this problem in
Yeah, that's a
America
good point.
where, the youth players, on the steel side anyway, are cut off at 18. Youth players can't get into a tavern
Mhm.
or a bar or pub or whatever until they're 21. So where are they supposed to play?
Right.
Until they're 21, when they're cut off like from their from the youth tournament circuit at 18. There's like 3 years for them to go find something else to do.
Yeah.
Right. After all the time and effort invested into learning a sport, I'm
Right.
convinced that
That makes
that's
sense.
that's got to change. And
Yeah, this would be a great venue for them.
yeah, I would think, how could this not be great?
Mm-hmm.
You could do it in the safety of your home. You don't have to worry about, borrowing the car or, whatever.
Or anything. Yeah.
All the issues with travel and stuff like that. So next week we'll have these guys on, and I think everybody's going to find it pretty interesting because they had some very interesting things to say.
Right.
One of the guys plays in the Super League, and is
Correct.
like, really concerned with getting on his county team. Another guy's like a good league player who just, kind of, he's competitive, but, he's just kind of playing to amuse himself and to have a good time. And he doesn't have any great ambitions of being like, the next Phil Taylor or anything.
Mhm.
And then the guy who actually owns it just, wanted to do something and was like, well, we should do this.
They
And
wanted to
these guys
improve
cooked
the
it all
original.
up. They sat down, cooked it all up, and look where they are now. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah.
So we'll get those guys on next week, and we'll have Callie after the first break. There was one bit of news I wanted to run by you.
All right.
And
Let's
it's
hear
not
it.
anything that was a video on YouTube. Well, maybe it is. So get this.
Okay.
The PDC had an event in, I think it was in Gibraltar.
All right.
It was somewhere in Europe, somewhere nowhere near here. So, and I think this has probably come up in every single dart player's career, but I've never heard of it happening in like a first-class tournament, right? So, you know how it works in the PDC. They actually have the caller with the microphone is actually the score, technically the chalker.
The chalker, yeah.
And he's just dictating to the people writing down what to write down.
Yeah.
Right? So Phil Taylor's got a dart at 24 to win a leg against Dean Winstanley. I think it was the second round. Throws it right on the wire. The guy with the microphone, game shot, Phil Taylor live. Phil goes, pulls his dart, and then somebody looked at the tape, and it's
it
like,
wasn't
it wasn't in. It was on the wire. Now, I didn't talk to you about this before the show because I really want your honest reaction. What they published later, Phil was like, look, I'll replay the match.
Mm-hmm.
What do I care? He says he didn't notice. He thought it was in. He assumed it was in. The guy said it was in. And I've seen Phil Taylor many times pull his darts without looking because you've got a guy calling the score. But it's incumbent on the player to make sure it's accurate. So I
Supposed
think
to be,
Phil,
right.
technically made a boo-boo. And I'm one of these guys that annoys chalkers sometimes because, especially in cricket, I don't pull my darts until I see him writing it down.
Okay.
So he'll write down one and then the other, and then I'm like, there's still one dart in the board, and I'm waiting for him to add 60.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, and then I pull it, which kind of delays things.
Well,
But
yeah, of course.
Especially in cricket, you can't go back in time. You need to make sure your score's accurate, right? There's people kind of like getting a little snarky on this, like somehow, oh, well, if it was anybody but Phil Taylor, this was going to be like, I don't know, resolved somehow differently, like they said in Augusta with Tiger Woods. Well, if it was somebody else, he would have been DQ'd, which was not technically the case. I mean, the tournament committee made a decision, informed the player,
sure.
and it turns out later they were wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to penalize the player for doing what you're told isn't really
Right. Well, I mean, isn't it also his opponent? I mean, he should be paying attention too, and he should be,
Well, but they don't do that in TV tournaments. You don't follow the guy as he's pulling his darts to see if it's
Right.
in, which is the only way you as a player are going to guarantee if something is in. You're going to have to follow the guy in. Like there's a guy in Chicago. He follows me in at least, one round
To
out
make
of
sure
every 2 or 3 legs because if it's on the wire, he wants to know if it's in.
Yeah.
Apparently he doesn't trust me. Okay, I don't care. Trust but verified, right? Go ahead and look.
But
I
are
don't
they
care.
saying that Phil should be disqualified, or are they saying that he
Oh,
should've-
people.
Or are they saying
Everybody's
that he's
got
actually kind of?
everybody's got an
Are they
opinion.
guessing he knew it wasn't in, but since they called it in, he was being?
Well, that's the thing I wondered. I wondered if it was kind of like at that little instant where he realized he was going to get a free leg,
Mhm.
or at least a free 3 darts. I don't know if Stanley was on an out, when Stanley was on an out or not. But it's an interesting thing. Here, this happened, something similar to this happened to me 2 or 3 years ago. The Windy City Cup, which is supposedly, the state championship, is what they
Right.
call it anyway.
Yeah.
They've never had a cricket singles. In all the years they had the cup, they never had cricket singles. And now that participation is down and the numbers are down, they decided to add a cricket singles. So I'm playing Kurt Hartman in the final, and I think we were both kind of thinking the same thing, like, wow, we'll be the first cricket state champ ever because they've never had one,
Yeah.
right? So I win the diddle, and I throw a ton 40. I go get my darts, and just as I'm pulling them, I'm like, was that a ton 40 or a ton? But I didn't say anything out loud. I was just sort of like, because I kind of pulled them quick because I assumed from the line that they were in. I pull them. I'm walking back, and Kurt's like, was that a 7 count? And I'm like, yeah, I think so. And the chalker's like, yeah, it was definitely a 7 count. And Kurt's like, was it a 7? And I'm like, well, I think it was.
But you weren't sure.
But I honestly wasn't sure.
Right.
And I probably, should have checked, but I just kind of assumed they were in. But, those little thin wires
Yeah.
and my eyesight,
Well, that's true too.
I didn't know what to do. So, but the chalker was so definitive that it was
That it
a
was-
7 count.
right.
I was like, well, Kurt, I don't know. He said it was in. You want me to do it over? And he's like, Kurt's like, don't worry about it. But it was sort of like
Well,
it
what's the
ruined.
rule?
Well,
I
the
mean-
rule is the chalker makes a call.
Yeah.
That's the rule.
And like my chat
No.
room says, though, you'd only question it if you thought it was in and they said it wasn't.
You'd only question it if you thought it was in
and they said it wasn't.
well,
So most people, go with what the chalker says.
if you thought it was,
So if you thought you hit it and the chalker says no,
right.
you
If
didn't,
the chalker
then
says
you would
it's
look.
80 and you think it's
Right.
140.
I chalked one of Stacy Bromberg's matches in Vegas when she played a PDC event, and her opponent, to this day, I'm quite sure threw what's 54, 72, and 1. Pretty sure he threw
127.
no, he threw a 73. He threw 4 18s and a
Oh.
1, and he
Oh, I
told me it was a 90. And I had already written down 73, and he had already pulled his darts, and I'm like, no, it was a 73. He had a 1 in there. He's like, no, it was a fat 18, and I'm like, well, I saw 1, and he's like, it was a fat 18, and I'm like, and I don't remember what Stacy said. She's like, well, it looked like a 90 from here, and I'm like, all right, and I changed it.
Okay.
And at the time, I probably should have said no. But, the way we are in America with the, we don't have professional chalkers. It's kind of like the chalkers are going to pretty much, and probably they should, go with what the players say.
Probably.
But that
I
isn't
would
what the
agree.
rules are.
Right.
Right? The rules are the chalker is supposed to call this. So I don't know what the PDC rules are, but if the guy with the microphone says it's in and you pull your darts, it may as well be in.
Yeah.
Right? So I don't think Taylor did anything wrong, although he should look to see if stuff is in when it's on the wire.
Right.
Right?
But like you said, I mean, he was probably sure. He probably thought it was in.
He's
Some
not used
guy-
to missing it.
Some
Well,
guy tells him it's in, so he just goes up there, yanks his dart, and he's concentrating on get ready for the next leg.
yeah,
and then,
he ended
you
up
know,
winning the tournament too. But I mean, the way
Right.
he's been throwing doubles lately, when I first saw this, I was like, this is gonna, because there are people that are like totally think that the PDC's in the bag for him, and I don't really see it. Right? I mean, he's been the top player for so long, and the longer the format, the more likely it is the top player is going to win. I mean,
Right.
he's awfully hard to knock off, but I don't see them rigging stuff for him.
No, why would
Right?
you have to?
I mean, I'm pretty sure even if he was playing the Diddle Tour here in America,
Yeah.
right, and playing Diddle every leg, best of 3, I think he'd win a lot of events.
I don't think he has to have everything fixed for him.
Yeah, I don't think
Yeah,
so.
I really don't. So, I mean, but I see, I don't know, I wouldn't call it a conspiracy theory thing, but I mean, I see people that are kind of always like somehow.
Well, when you're when
Looking
you're on
for
top,
some other-
everybody wants to knock you down, and then people come up with any excuse possible to.
Well, I don't know. I just have this Norman Mailer quote going through my head, and it's really not appropriate. Let's take our first break. You're listening to Dart Talk with Mark, Steve, and Tardy Chat Room Girl. We'll be right back.
I'm here. Not easy.
Okay, back for the second quarter, brought to you by the Dart Zone.
Stay in the zone.
TheDartZone.com is an official Cosmo distributor. Also, many thanks, Windy City Fabricators and Redwood Darts. And welcome our latest guest. Callie West is with us from, I think, Syracuse, New York. How are you, Callie?
I'm doing good. Yep, from Syracuse.
Okay, right off the bat, we have a whole list of questions for you, but Mark
Okay.
actually
we're gonna grill you.
Mark wants to know if your given name is California.
No, it's just Callie.
Just Callie. All right,
Okay,
it's good to know.
it's
I was actually named after a great aunt who was the very first person born on American soil back in, I don't know, the 1800s.
Really?
I'm pretty sure we had
Wow.
people in America before that. Oh, you mean
They
of
they
your
were
family?
born- yeah.
Of my family,
Oh,
correct.
Oh, okay.
I was like, wow, you're related to the very first American ever born on American soil.
I was
That's
ready to
pretty
ready to
impressive.
ask her if she thought
In
the Earth
her
was 6,000
family.
years
Yeah.
old, but all right. Just-
You just have to deal with them.
I'm a
girls.
little
You have
sleep
to deal with
deprived.
them.
Everybody needs to cut Steve a little slack today. Anyway, Kelly, let's because I've had lots of great players on the show, but some of them I know better than others. You, I confess, I don't know that well at all. So let's get like
Some of
the
us don't know her at all.
Match.com questions out of the way. You're a woman, so I'll avoid asking your age and your weight. But let's say, where are you originally from?
I'm originally from Long Island. I grew up in East Meadow and then moved to East Islip on the South Shore of Long Island.
Okay, is that anywhere near like Jones Beach?
Yeah, actually, East Meadow is really close to Jones Beach. And then
I saw a
You're
movie
so-
set in
you're
Jones
so-
Beach
you're so
once.
proud of yourself.
He's so excited.
I'm just having a really bad day. So you're from Long Island, and did you like go to school there and stuff like that?
I left Long Island when I was 18. So yeah, I went to high school there, all that, and then moved upstate.
Did you like just get a backpack and hitchhike, or was there a plan?
No, I,
I
sort
just
of had a
left.
plan. I went to college, played basketball in college, and then after that, I just decided I liked it here, so I stayed.
So did you go to the Big Orange? Did you go to Syracuse?
No, I wish. I went to a state college, Oswego, up on Lake Ontario.
It's so Oswego's not on Lake Oswego. It's like a country club, right?
Right.
Like Oak Park
I was
Country
waiting for
Clubs
you
in
to
River
ask if that
Grove.
was next to such and such a place, and
I
then
don't know.
do your
I
little
don't
dance
know.
again.
Yeah, I don't know anything. Oh,
And do the Stevie dance.
oh dear. We got enough bad email about that. Okay, so a college educated American
Basketball
female
player.
dart player. Well, do you still play basketball?
Not anymore. I kind of blew out my shoulder, so I have a hoop out in the driveway, but if I play too much, it just irritates it, so I usually don't.
Because Mark thinks he can post anyone up.
Yeah.
I have my doubts,
Oh, you've got it.
but
You got this.
Yeah.
I can't play any. I used to
Probably
play a
break
lot of
my ankles.
basketball. Yeah, I can't play anymore. I think I can still dunk, but the problem is I don't think I can land anymore. So
I
I
bet you
don't.
can land.
That's
I-
the hard part.
Yeah, I don't really try anymore.
I bet you can land.
Well, let's get
Gravity.
your.
I need to get a hoop in here. I'm bringing a hoop. Oh God, yes.
You don't. Oh, I'm telling you, I used to be good.
Oh.
Like anyone cares.
Right.
Let's get your dart history out in the open for everyone to look at. How did you get started playing darts?
Well, when I was a kid, my cousin's dad owned a dart shop in Manhattan, and he played the circuit for a lot of years. Jim Birmingham. He kind of got me into it. We'd just kind of play around, fool around, not really get serious with it. But I didn't really start playing in a league until 1999 when I joined the Salt City Dart League in Syracuse.
So you were fooling around with Jim Birmingham kind of casually when you were younger. Is what I'm getting
Nothing
out
too
of this.
serious, though.
You have to be careful what you say, Kelly, because they will turn and twist it.
Actually, we have to be careful what we say back here. You're
Oh.
treading water.
Uh,
Lord.
As I understand it, Manhattan used to be like a real hotbed for darts at one time. Were there a lot of players back when you first started playing?
Yeah, there were. I mean, really, I didn't play much when I lived down there. I didn't really start playing until I came up here. So I don't really know about the dart scene because I was just a kid. So I didn't really have much much information on that.
I have this picture of you with those long basketball shorts, holding a basketball, hanging around a dart shop, throwing darts as what, a 12-year-old?
Yeah, yeah. I was about 12, 13. Yeah, when I started playing darts.
Nice. So the Salt City League, I think, is pretty large.
Yeah, it's a good size. It is kind of shrinking, but there's probably a good 60 teams, which is pretty good for a small area that Syracuse is.
It's shrinking. I think somebody has an app for that now.
Right.
Really?
Yeah, that webcam darts thing. I swear to
Yes,
God, as
yes.
far as like for something that really has the promise of increasing growth and interest in the sport of darts, they have an app for
That
that.
would
I
be
mean,
great.
seriously, for a kid, a 13, 14-year-old kid that's got after basketball practice hanging out at the dart shop, she could do it at home now.
Mm-hmm.
In the safety of, I don't know, her living room, den, basement, garage, whatever.
Wherever.
I mean, wherever you can get Wi-Fi, right? I mean, I
McDonald's.
can't get this picture out of my head.
Of her holding a
Well, she says a
basketball with-
dart shop, and I imagine a cigar shop with,
Oh,
like,
just move
instead of the
on.
Indian, just like a dartboard. I don't know. It's kind of strange.
I'm helping you out here, girl.
Yeah. Let's move on.
Ugh.
So was your first tournament the Syracuse Open then?
Yes, it was. Yep. In 2000, that was the first time I went to that tournament.
And what was that? What was that like? Your very first tournament.
It was incredible. I remember to this day how it was. I finished top 8. I lost to Kim Whaley, and I was just absolutely over the moon about it. And I couldn't wait till the next year to get to play everybody again. I had such a great experience with it. It's still my favorite tournament, and it really got me hooked.
So you'd only been playing really for a year up to that first tournament.
Yeah, actually, not even really a year because I joined, kind of late in '99. So yeah, it only been a few months because the tournament is in February.
That's exactly my story. I played like a season of league, walked into my first tournament, and I was like, "This is what it's supposed to be. This is great. No karaoke, no nothing. Let's just play darts." I thought it was awesome.
Mine was my first time ever to play steel darts, and I didn't even own steel darts. And I left a soft tip tournament and went to a steel tournament and played. Yeah,
Awesome.
it was fun.
I
Yeah.
have no recollection.
It's that.
You'd make a great defense
Yeah.
witness.
Nice.
So let me ask you this Syracuse tournament. The guy that runs it, that's at the microphone at the podium, the whole tournament. What is that guy's deal?
Okay, that guy is Fran Carey, and he literally lives about 4 doors away from me.
Wow. Does he tell you when to cross the street and how to park your car?
No, I hardly see him. I walk my dogs by his house every night, and
Do they go on his
I see him a
grass?
couple times. But yeah, well, he's a talker.
I like it. No, I really was impressed by the way this guy is on this tournament, and he wants. I've never seen. There's no tournament that is run as well as that I've ever been to. That's run as well as was his name Fran or Frank?
Fran.
Fran. This
Yeah,
guy is on
his
top
son
of
is
everything.
Frank.
Oh,
The
his
thing
son-
about that tournament is, I think the reason it's run so well is because the same people have been running it for all 36 years. Fran actually was the one who started the Syracuse Open with his own money out of his own pocket the very first year, back, whenever that was in the 70s. And, he just built it every year from there. And it's been a real passion of theirs. They've been the same team that's up there. And, they work really well together. They know what they're doing.
Well, you've been to almost. I'm thinking there's very few tournaments that you haven't been to in the last 10, 12, 13 years. I'm not very good at math. What's your second favorite tournament?
My second favorite tournament is the Montreal tournament, the Sorrentos Katarina
I wrote it down.
Katarinas tournament.
See,
The
I knew
scratch?
I knew without even asking you that was going to be your next favorite tournament. Tell us why.
Oh, a lot of reasons. I love the format. All day long, Saturday you play all day. It's just chalk and walk, which that's kind of how I learned, and I really enjoy that. It's just a lot of darts for your money, and it's decent money for the winner as well. So it's just a great format,
What the
well-run
world is
tournament.
chalk and walk?
Chalk and walk is you chalk your own match.
Oh,
Yeah,
So-
for the most part. In the round robin on that first day, you're definitely chalking and walking.
Let me just interrupt for the people that don't know. The Le Scratch format is exactly practically what they're doing in the NWDS. You play round robin on Saturday, and then win or lose, you're playing knockout on Sunday. Either you're in the lower money bracket
right.
with a shorter format, or you're in the big money bracket with a longer format. Which was, I went there once, Callie, and I just thought, why aren't all tournaments like this? I just thought it was
Oh, yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah, no, I love it. And that's what I like about the NWDS, that they're trying to replicate that, because it is just a wonderful idea.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think? I not to put you on the spot, but you came on the show, so you're fair game. What do you what do you think of the normal kind of ADO style tournaments that you traipse to every week? Wouldn't you rather see them all kind of change and be more like the Le Scratch format?
I would love that. I would even love just simply, if we really had to do that many events in one day, to have some kind of break in there somewhere. I mean, if you happen to be lucky enough or good enough to get to the finals of every event that you enter, there is never any time to even grab so much as a sandwich. I mean, there's no time to eat from 11 o'clock in the morning until 11 o'clock at night. You're doing nothing but playing darts. You don't have time to eat. You don't have time to hardly do anything.
No, it's brutal.
Like I'm talking to you. You say the exact same stuff.
I know. Doesn't it sound like she's copying one of our
Yeah.
old shows? No, but seriously. And people talk about the social aspect of darts and stuff. You're working all day. You're playing all day. You don't have a whole lot of time to socialize. Then you're supposed to go to sleep and wake up and do it again the next day.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's like, what is this? And the only people who get a chance to recreate are the people that are out in the first round of every tournament, and then they're complaining that they're out in the first round of every tournament. So I'm with Callie on this one.
Yes.
As far as like I've heard stories about how this format evolved and stuff like that, but I'm to the point now where just the thought of going to one of these tournaments, like a bunch of people went down to the Cherry Bomb in Fort Lauderdale last weekend. People are going to Chattanooga for the Firecracker this weekend. Hey, you going? And I'm like, 9-hour drive to go play best of 3 501.
Just has no interest.
It just tires me out just thinking about it. Whereas if they said, well, no, it's round robin Saturday and knockout Sunday, I'd be like, yeah. For that, I'll make every effort.
Yeah.
But for a lot of these other ones, I don't know that it's really worth the trouble. I really don't. Now, the Nationals are coming up in Stamford next month, Callie. Are you planning on going to that?
Oh, yeah, I'm going to that.
Okay, I'll try to do my best Dustman Hoffman imitation. Hang on.
Oh gosh.
Are you on any prescription medication?
No, sir.
No, Steve had a lot of time on his hands this week, so Steve
You
went
watch a bunch
through.
of Dustin Hoffman movies?
Well, no. What I did was I went through all the drug testing rules,
Okay.
and I wanted to. And maybe we should talk about this later in the show, Callie. So I don't want to take time from you, but let me ask you. Well, let me just ask you generally. Drug testing at tournaments. Do you think that's a good idea?
Yeah, I do, actually.
Caffeine's
like
not on the
PEDs?
list. Yeah, and of course alcohol's not on the list. I
Right.
triple checked that one.
Oh, thank God. Yeah.
So why do you think it's a good idea?
Well, I think it's just a bad habit for people to get into, and if people know that they can get away with it, they're going to keep doing it. And I mean, I just think it's a silly thing to do. I mean, it's not like we're all playing for $1 million here. We're playing for $300, $400, at each event. So, I mean, really, what's really the point of it? And I just think it needs to be somewhat policed.
Yeah, it's just it was kind of funny because all right, I'm not going to just start ripping on the ADO.
No, please
No.
don't.
But I mean, they basically, well, the WDF says that they're going to have random testing at their events. But now, what if you're on what people don't realize is, I had one guy tell me, well, I have a prescription for Vicodin, so I can take Vicodin, and it's not a problem, and it is a problem because it's a prohibited. Just because your doctor gives you a prescription doesn't mean that you can take a drug and
Yes.
play.
Right.
You're going to fail your drug test. Now, I could not find anywhere on the ADO or WDF's website what the penalties were because talk this over with somebody, and they're like, well, if I'm out in the first round, what difference does it make? And I'm like, well, they're going to probably ban you from WDF events for a year, but they don't own the event, so how can they ban you? I mean, I don't know how they're even going to be able to do this, but I know that at least one person that they drug tested in Vegas. It wasn't you, was it?
No, actually, it was Robin Curry.
I knew. Oh, see, I knew I was close. Okay.
Yeah, very close.
I was gonna. Well, okay. We had Robin on last week, and it was a delightful interview. But there were a couple of questions I forgot to ask her. Let me take a break real quick. Stay with us, Callie.
Yep.
You could just mute your mic because nothing's going to go out until we come back. But you're listening to Dart Talk with Mark, Steve, Chat Room Girl, and Callie West, and we'll be back in a minute. Okay, back for the second half, brought to you by the Dart Zone.
Stay in the zone.
TheDartZone.com is an official Cosmo distributor. Also, many thanks, Redwood Darts and Windy City Fabricators. Don't forget you can find Dart Talk on iTunes, Stitcher.com, TuneIn.com. Our videos are up on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
We have a channel, Dart Talk US. If you search that in YouTube, you'll get the whole video archive. And our website is darttalk.us, and at some point it'll be worth going to.
Yeah.
And I'll
But it's
definitely
out there.
I'll definitely let everybody know when that day comes. Pretty sure you'll see me partying. And I believe we still have Callie West on the line. Are you there, Callie?
Yep, I'm here.
Okay. We had I think Chat Room Girl's got a question from the chat room for you.
I do. I have a question for Callie from Mason. What's your favorite tournament win and why?
The favorite win had to be the only time out of 15 years that I've played at the Syracuse Open. Probably it was back in 2009. I won the 501 singles, and I feel that's a really that's a big win for me, not only because of being the hometown girl, but the players, the caliber of player that you have at that tournament is really incredible because you have all the great shots coming down from Canada, as well as all of the national shots, from America. The top shots.
Yeah, I only went there once, and I must concur again. It's like we have the same brain.
Yeah, no, it's
that's frightening.
it's frightening.
Get help.
Crazy.
Oh.
That does scare me a little bit.
Yeah.
You should be frightened.
I can imagine somebody running out of the room right now. No, but seriously, I was really impressed with the depth and quality of the field
Mm-hmm.
at the Syracuse Open the one year that I went, and it was just amazing. Of the guys, I think there were like maybe 40 or 50 had a chance of winning, and it was almost the same of the women. Like 30 or 40 have a chance of winning. It was a bloodbath.
Yeah.
It was just brutal. There's a tournament that would be a good change that one to long format. That tournament would be awesome.
Yeah.
But let me ask you something about playing. You play so much on the road. Playing at home, is that somehow, do you put more pressure on yourself? I know, like, emotionally, it probably means a lot more to win the tournament that kind of started out your career. Has it been hard dealing with that kind of thing?
Well, actually, I mean, I'm one of those people that I really thrive on pressure. I actually enjoy it. So that kind of thing, it just makes me want to play more. I really enjoy that kind of situation.
Awesome. Okay. Let's talk health. I remember seeing you. I don't want to say in tears, but it sure looked like you were in tears in Nashville last year. Were you having like a back problem or a knee problem or something, or was that Robin too?
Yeah, no, no, that was me. That was 2 years ago. I, it was basically, I drive down to that tournament every year, and that's about 14 hours in the car. And, it's a tough tournament. I had done Charlotte the week before, 2 weeks before, whatever. And I think it just kind of took a toll on my back. And, that morning, Sunday morning, I just went to bend down to pick something up. And that was it. I was done.
Snap.
And, yeah, it was very disappointing. And you drive that far to a tournament and then not be able to even play. I couldn't even hardly stand.
How'd you drive back?
That was really tough. Robin drove back, and I just, I got through it. It was not easy.
I have a
understandable.
picture in my head right
Yeah.
now.
Writhing
Hopefully
around in pain.
I just hope you weren't in one of those smart cars, because that would be difficult.
Let's put it this way: we were in Robin's Honda Civic, so yeah,
So it's a pretty smart car.
Yeah.
it was pretty tough.
It's a pretty small car.
Now, Nashville is one of those important tournaments where points count for this, points count for that. They're sanctioned by every dart sanctioning organization this year except ours. We have not sanctioned the Nashville or the Music City Classic, but everybody else has. It's hard to get our sanctioning.
Yeah.
But
we're difficult.
it seems to me that's one of those like World Cup kind of qualifier tournaments to get BDO points and stuff like that. Or you're on the World Cup team this year, aren't you?
Yeah, I am, and actually, even though I didn't do well in Nashville last year at all, the draws were absolutely horrendous to me. The first round, I drove Stacy Bromberg. The second day,
I've heard
I
of her.
drove Sandy Hudson and lost a very tight match there. So I lost in the first round both days. And actually, I'm not going back this year, not specifically because of that. I have some family obligations, but it's tough when you when you have to drive 14 hours and then get those kind of draws first round both days. That's a hard one.
Yeah, I again,
So something for seating.
she's copying all the stuff I've said on the show for a year and a half.
Exactly.
Yeah, the seating
It's
is
like deja vu.
I don't know if yeah. I mean, the seating discussion, I guess what we should do is get some people on the show that are really anti-seating and let them state their case, because I try to paraphrase it for them, and halfway through it, I'm like, this is the silliest argument I've ever heard. How can anybody
probably wouldn't let that
honestly
person
think
get
that
through
this is
2
going to do
sentences.
what you think it's going to do?
Right.
I won't say who it was with, but I had a seating argument with actually one of the better known women at an American tournament this year. That's as specific as I'll get, and I was just astounded at the kind of groupthink and the arguments against seating that so many people seem to take as gospel, which are total fallacies.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll have to do something about that. Now, we did get a comment from a guy who listens to the show, and he was like, look, I don't really like cricket any more than you do, but, the next time you get in one of these 501 cricket discussions, get somebody on that, will argue for cricket. But I don't think you're that woman.
I was going to say, do we have that person on air?
No, that is not me. I think 01 is definitely the better game. No matter how big of a deficit you get into, with a really good score, you can get right back in the game. Hope they miss their double. You're always in it until the game is over. Whereas cricket, someone can pump points and there's just no chance you're going to win.
Yeah, I can't say that you said something earlier, in our little pre-show fist fight that I wish you would repeat now, but you probably don't remember it. Let's see if I can remember it. You were saying that in you didn't say it was boring. You were saying that in cricket, the strategy, once you learn the strategy, then it's just like, oh well, you do this, you do that, and there's not much fun
It's
in it.
pretty textbook
Too robotic.
once you know the game, it is pretty textbook what moves you have to make in order to to win the game. Whereas in '01, it's the same, but it's always changing depending on if you hit that triple or you miss that triple. At an important part of the game.
Okay, let's we used to do a segment on the show called Best of Seven, which we really don't do anymore, but we could play it with you. Here's how it works. I'm going to give you a number and tell you how many darts you have in your hand, and then you'll say where you're going to throw your first dart.
Okay.
Okay? It's sort of like, I don't know, the dart equivalent of a dating game or something like, well, Bachelor number 1, what do you like?
What does she get for winning?
Nothing.
Oh, okay.
But she can record her answers in posterity, and when I ever kind of collate them all and put them all and start making fun of everybody, she could be part of it.
All right.
Like Darren
Awesome.
Young on
That's what you have to look
like
forward
Darren Young on 101.
Get to look forward to being made fun of.
By the way, anybody that listens to the show, if you ever take out an 82 with a double bull and a double 16, take a picture with your cell phone and post it on Darren Young's Facebook wall.
Yeah, I've actually done that in a tournament in the finals against
DPNY.
Shay Reynolds. Actually, I did it in the DPNY shoot, and I've also done it in Charlotte last year against Shay Reynolds in
You
the
go,
finals.
Callie.
Well, I did it against Darren in a mixed triples or a mixed doubles, and he yelled at me. And I have
And
a
you guys had a
feeling he
huge
wouldn't have said
discussion about it.
anything if I missed it. But anyway, so do you want to play?
I'll try.
Do you remember the rules?
No.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna. It's an 0-1 game. I'm gonna tell you what number you're on and how many darts you have in your hand, and you just say where you're gonna throw your first dart.
Okay.
Okay. So, for instance, 501, 3 darts in your hand. Where's your first dart?
I think I'm gonna go 20s.
You're gonna go 20. So you're not a 19 shooter. Okay.
No.
So 2 darts in your hand, and you're on 25.
I always go 9.
You go 9. Okay. 3 darts in your hand. You're on 271.
Oh. That's the weak part of my game. You're exposing the weak part of my game.
Oh, sorry. Imagine me exposing a woman. That didn't come out right.
No, not at all.
That didn't come out right.
Oh.
I'm having I told you I was sleep deprived. Well, this goes under intermediate scoring, so we usually throw a couple in there. So 3 darts in your hand, you're on 271.
Well, I'll throw that first dart at the 20 and see what happens.
Okay. 3 darts in your hand, and you're on 90.
Is the other player on a finish?
See, everybody
See,
asks that.
it's
See,
a-
that's exactly the question.
a
See,
need to
Well,
know.
well, let's say they are.
Okay, then I'm going 20s.
Okay, let's say they're not.
Then I'll go 18s.
Okay.
18, but if I'm forced into a must-hit situation, then I'm going to try for the triple 20. If I miss it, at least I've still got a fat 20 to hit ball.
Right.
Yep.
Okay. How about 3 darts in your hand, and you're on 65?
I hate that out.
That's why we use it.
That's why we're
I
playing
usually
the
go
game.
bull first dart.
I'm sorry, we were talking over you there.
Oh, that's okay. I usually go bull first dart.
You go bull. You ever go triple 11?
Yeah, I've done that once or twice, but I usually end up just going bull. That's one of the shots that I always hit.
Okay. Well, that's interesting. How many was that? Was that 4.5?
It was about
Are we giving
5
her
or
2
6.
for the 9? She gave
Yeah,
us 2.
right.
See, she vacillated.
Yeah.
What's the penalty for vacillation?
There is no penalty. You don't get anything for winning, so
Oh,
how
okay.
can you penalize her for something?
This is a Larry Butler special. 3 darts in your hand, and you're on 121.
I always go 20s.
Okay. Yeah, everyone does except Larry.
What's
Okay.
Oh,
Larry
okay.
go for?
Larry goes for the bull.
Okay.
That's what he told me.
What? Leave 96 if he doesn't hit the double?
Yeah.
Well, that's what would happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what he's shooting for.
He says in
We're-
his
on it.
his life he's done better going for the bull than he has going for
Really?
the 20, which I'm okay. It's fine with me. Keep doing it.
Yeah.
Okay, how
All right.
about what's the Jeff Smith special is
He does
Is
a
it-
lot with 18s.
Yeah, to leave himself.
yeah, I
double
was going to
18.
say what's how does Jeff Smith take out a 144? Well, okay, 3 darts in your hand, you're on 144.
Well, I mean,
Okay.
18s is a shot or 20s. I don't know. Again, it depends. I'm honestly, I'm more of a feeling player. If I'm feeling a certain number, I go that way. If I'm feeling another number, then I go that way.
Okay, well, how about 104? 3 darts in your hand and you're on 104.
I'll go 18s.
Go 18s on 104,
Yep.
even if you're feeling something else.
All right, fine.
Well, it's one of those numbers. The other one, we do 2 more. Will get us to 7, right? I lost
Yeah.
count. I'm sleep
You need
deprived,
to
like
get
I
us
said.
to our next break. Is what you need to do.
Is that we're that far? Okay. 3 darts in your hand and you're on 72.
72. I'll go trip 12.
Go for the 12.
Yeah.
Okay. You got one? Anything you're curious about?
No, I'm just trying to learn. Like, I'm just
Okay,
soaking
last
I'm
one.
just soaking this all in.
On the,
Okay. Last one. 3 darts in your hand and you're on 91.
Start with the trip 17.
Okay. Did you have one for us, Sassy?
I got a comment from my chat room on the Larry out. It says Larry and every player in Holland, the entire country.
Oh,
shoots
you
bull
can't
on
count the
121.
Dutch. If you start counting the Dutch and the Belgium, we have to quit the show. There's like they'll
pretty
try
funny,
every
though.
conceivable
You have to
combination.
admit, though, that's pretty
Or
funny.
well, you know what? I'll get Dieter on the show and we'll play this game. And you'll be every answer. You'll just be like, "Huh?" And I asked somebody about Dieter once, and I'm like, "He does all these strange things." And the guy just looked at me. He's like, "No, he doesn't." I'm like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "He just missed by 4 inches, and
Nice.
he's just BSing you about what he's going for." And I'm like, "But he hit the other 2," and they're like, "Well, that's Dieter." And I'm like, "Okay, whatever." All right, we're gonna take one more break. Stay with us, please, Callie. We have more to get to.
All right, no problem.
Okay, you're listening to Dart Talk with Mark, Steve, Chat Room Girl, and Callie West, and we'll be back in a minute.
Almost over.
Okay, back for the fourth quarter, brought to you by the Dart
Stay in
Zone.
the zone.
TheDartZone.com is an official Cosmo distributor. Also, many thanks, Redwood Darts and Windy City Fabricators. We had another question in from the chat room for Callie West, if she's still with us.
Yes, I am.
You have the patience of a saint.
I've been told that many times.
Really? Well,
Yeah.
I can see that. Anyway, they're asking about if you're on the World Cup team and what you had to do to qualify for it. And I will say, if you missed the last couple shows, I've been calling that World Cup a second-class event. So you can correct me if I'm wrong on that one.
Okay. Well, it may be a second-class event considering, the PDC and all that. But for the women, it is a world-class event, and that is the only event that we have to actually participate in and play against all of the top shots. The Dita Hedmans, Trina Gullivers, all those guys. So it really is the top of the heap for us. And it's really quite an honor to make that team. It was an incredible journey this last year that I had to do to make that team. Halfway through the year, I actually sprained my ankle terribly bad and broke it as well, and played the rest of the year on it. All the rest of the tournaments, and still made the World Cup team doing that. So it was a really tough year, and I'm actually really proud that I made that team this year.
How's your health insurance? You seem to get hurt a lot.
Yeah, well, just twice, and in really important tournament situations. But yeah, it has kind of happened for everybody to see, apparently.
I think Robin said the same thing last week when we had Robin Curry on. She said that it's different for the women because there isn't all this, BDO 180 waiver rule and all this other stuff. It's pretty much, with the exception of, I guess Stacy got bounced a couple years ago, but outside of that, all the best women get a chance to qualify and get a chance to play. So.
Right, exactly. And the year that Stacy got bounced was the one year that the PDC actually threw us a bone and had a world championship.
Right.
And I think that was, something to do with that.
Yeah, and we should be glad they did it, right? Even though nothing came of it.
I think it's a sad thing, that it happened. Ironically, I was the beneficiary of that because I came in second that year. So I ended up going in Stacy's spot, which was a really great experience for me. But I don't know. I don't think it's right.
Okay, well, I assume you're looking forward to playing it. Are you doing anything special to prepare for it?
Oh yeah, lots of practice. I'm definitely looking forward to it because obviously this time I've actually got the, I'm preparing for it ahead of time. I didn't know I was even a part of the World Cup team last time until September, I think. So it was kind of hurry up and practice, and here you go. You're in. So this year I've got some time to practice and prepare mentally, and I'm very looking forward to
When
this.
is it?
I think it's in October.
Yeah, first weekend of October.
First weekend in
week of
October. Well, share with the listeners if you can. What's a typical Callie West practice session like? Suntan oil, beach towel,
Basketball.
sunglasses. What?
Yeah.
No, seriously.
I work on my feet all day. I spend about 9 hours at work on my feet.
You mean
I
like doing a
call-
pedicure?
And
You're
no,
actually not actually
And then,
working on her feet.
Oh, you mean
She's
she's actually
Callie. She's
Not
on
actually,
her
like,
feet all
working
day.
on her
Yeah.
feet.
Just keep
Yeah.
talking, Callie.
Are you
Don't
like
sh-
a
don't be
traffic?
quiet.
Are you a traffic cop?
Yeah.
I know, right? Should I just kind of ignore him?
See, it's
Traffic
yes,
cops, she could be
you've
throwing
got
darts
it
at
now.
cars for practice.
I'm just silly tonight. I'm sorry. I'm usually not this way. At least,
Okay,
drinking
back to
coffee.
your practice session.
yeah. So
Anyway,
I'm
after
sorry.
all that, yeah, I do get up and practice for 1 to 2 hours a night. It depends on the night as to what routine I'm going to do. A lot of my routines I kind of gauge according to how I did at the last tournament, what I did wrong, what I did right, and then I just work on all the things that went wrong and try to fix them.
I've heard some people say that the first thing they do when they come back from a tournament, like let's say they scored really well, the first few days after they come back, they'll actually work on scoring because they did it well, and they want to get that part totally set before they get to the stuff that they were weaker on. Have you ever heard that?
I've never heard that, and that's certainly not what I do. But I take losses hard, and I I try to prepare so not to lose again. And whatever it was that made me lose that game, whether it was a scoring issue or whether it was hitting my double, that's what I'm going to practice the most before the next tournament.
Fair enough. Without revealing any trade secrets or anything, because I think a lot of people would be interested in something like this. Let's say you went to a tournament and all weekend you had a problem with hitting double 16, let's say. Does that mean that like the next week you'd be like constantly bombarding the double 16? Or is there...
Probably the first couple of days after the tournament, that would be the double I focused on the most, just to kind of get it out of my system. But then maybe it's more of just an issue of, okay, doubling out is the issue, not necessarily double 16. So I'd just be focusing more on my doubling practice as far as that goes instead of scoring.
Okay, so let's say you want to work on doubles tonight. How would you go about that?
Well, there's a couple of different routines I do. Sometimes it's just anything from the count 27, that game 27 I play, where you score every double,
Sure.
or I'll do just one dart at each double until you hit every double. I sometimes just do target practice, or I'll just go around the board the whole way, 3 darts at each double.
Okay. And then go back to the ones you miss, or just...
Yeah. You go back to the ones you miss until you hit them.
Okay.
And
Interesting.
usually I do that. You have to hit them 5 times. That's usually the way I do it.
That would take me a week.
So you have to go around a minimum of 5 times?
That's what I was thinking.
Yes.
I'm like, she works
I
9
would.
hours. So I
The
work
next
9
tournament
hours
would
a
be
day,
I
and
would
I
be
would
starting
the,
already.
yeah.
I wouldn't even be done with my doubles practice.
I'm like,
See, I
one would
hate
see me.
I hate these kinds of comments.
you
You guys have never tried to do it, and you
maybe
think
I
it's
have,
that
and that's
hard.
why I know.
Well, no. I mean, you know what? It's like anything else. I mean, the first time you do it, it may take longer, but once you get the hang of it,
Right.
then it starts to feel more natural. You'd be surprised how
Okay,
many
well,
you
so
could
when
hit.
I'm not here next Wednesday, I'm still
No,
on double.
that- you know what?
11.
Still haven't hit double 7.
Ah,
I don't know. I
got nothing
I
with
don't
that.
know what to
You
say
got
to
nothing.
people sometimes,
You got
Callie.
nothing for
It
that, do
seems
you?
like sometimes everything I say is wrong. And I only have one girlfriend, so I don't know quite how that can be true. I wanted to ask you and bring Robin in. There was one discussion, we're running out of time, that I really wanted to get to. In last week's pre-show fist fight, Robin, who I hope is there with you, was telling us about how in Canada, a lot of the people that come up, the younger people and stuff, don't necessarily play in bars. They play in what I think she called them Legion Leagues, which are like the Canadian Legion clubs apparently have dart boards, have their own dart tournaments, have their own dart leagues. You yourself said you were introduced to darts, totally outside a bar, actually at a shop run by your casual acquaintance, Jim Birmingham.
oh, for the love of God.
Just to show you I haven't lost my memory. So
Awesome.
Unfortunately.
no, because I'm taking the long way around the block here because there's a point that I want to get to before the end of the show. So when you went to Syracuse and started playing, it sounds to me like you put a lot of time in on your board at home. But I assume like when you're playing in a league in Syracuse, you're playing in taverns or pubs or bars or something like that.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, just taverns.
Is playing in a tavern or a bar much different for you than playing in a tournament?
Absolutely.
Okay, because let me give you what is not a hypothetical and tell me what you would do in this situation. You go with your significant other to a bar thinking that you'll
no.
just throw on a Sunday night and no one will be there, right? And you go to the bar and there's only 2 boards. So you go to the board on the right, nobody's on the board to the left. The music is quiet and there's only about 8 people in the bar. So you start to play like 50-60 or 121 or something. You with me so far?
Yeah.
Okay. Within the next 7 minutes, the music increases from 40 decibels to 120 decibels over your head, and 7 drunken people go to the board to your left in front of the board and start playing on a hula hoop. Now, after playing under those conditions for 20 minutes, I got tired and said, you know what, I think I've had enough of this session. And I was upbraided that somehow I should have fought through that.
It's
Well,
good practice.
Yeah, I guess
Yeah.
it is good practice,
It is
and I
good
have
practice,
worked
and
on
if
a
the
lot
chalker-
of
if the
you know,
chalker on the board
distraction
next to you
practice type of
had a
darts,
few
but
too-
that's,
They're in
that's
front of a board with hula hoops taking turns.
Well,
At some
hey.
point, you got to say, you know what, this ain't really a dart bar, and I shouldn't be here.
Well, that gets you weathered for distraction.
It was a hula hoop. They go swish,
You know,
swish, swish.
so when
And
you
they
have-
weren't even that good at it. 1-2 turns, it was on the floor.
Well, when you have the
Were
intoxicated
they
chalker
cute?
on the board next
Andy
to you that
Balfe.
sways
Oh God.
back and forth,
And,
it
you
gets
know, his
weathered.
crew.
Because I know I've seen that before. The intoxicated chalker on the board next to you, and they got the sway going on while they're trying to chalk. See,
I had to vent a
That's
little bit.
different than a hula hoop.
distractions.
Sorry to drag you
Yeah.
in. Sorry to drag you into my personal drama, but I had to
Hey,
vent
we
a
didn't
little
get
bit.
it. We didn't really get an answer from Callie. What would
Well,
she
no,
do?
we covered it up. We'll have to ask her again. Why don't you ask her? Because I'm mad and I forgot the question.
I think the question was, could you last more than 20 minutes next to somebody with a hula hoop when you're having a dart session?
Yeah, wow, probably not.
Well,
I'd
there you
probably
go.
say forget it.
Now you just gave everyone who wants to go out and beat Callie the total strategy how to do it is to get somebody, go outside, give somebody $20,
And a
take this hula hoop.
I'll bet you Callie could. I'll bet you that Callie could play under those conditions. It's just why should she?
Exactly.
You know what I
The
mean?
difference there is in a bar, no, I wouldn't. In a tournament, I will do anything to win that game. So I will
There
win
you
that
go.
game.
There you
Whether
go.
they're hula hooping or whatever they're doing, fine.
There you go.
There's a winner. Now, if you got Robin Curry nearby, I'm curious to ask her if at these Legion leagues that they have in Canada, if they would have hula hoop incidents.
No hula hoops. Not even any hats.
Beach
actually.
balls, anything like that?
no
You-
hats even.
No, you're not allowed to wear a hat to Legion.
Wow.
I know a bar that won't. You have to be over 25 and you can't wear a hat. It's the biggest pickup bar in Chicago. I don't go there anymore, but I'm just saying, no hats.
Saying.
Wouldn't know about that place. No, thank you.
Well, yeah. Well, I could tell you where it is
I don't
if
wanna
you're
know.
interested, but I
Nah.
tried. Well, never mind.
Okay.
All right.
Well, Robin, if you want to chime in here, we never got to the Legion leagues last week. If you want to tell the listeners kind of what the Legion leagues are like, what the conditions are like, and then maybe kind of tell us what your perception is as far as the difference between like Canadian darts and American darts in general.
Yeah, I can't comment on all of Canada, but my introduction
I
was.
comment
at
on all of America.
No, I was in Canada, didn't I? Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm goofing around.
That's right. Legions are most of our tournaments are held in legions. Legions or private clubs. I can't think of one tournament that I've been to that we've had in a bar. It's always been in a legion. And the reason for this is it's a service club. There's food always served. The beer is cheap. And it's just the way we do things. I found it very strange to play in a bar league down here because like all of my experience in Ontario has been service clubs or legions.
I'm coming to the conclusion personally that playing in bar leagues probably hampers your development way more than people think.
Well, you have to take it for what it is. You're in a bar. There's people in the bar who don't understand. They walk in front of you. They trip you up. Sorry.
Kick your back,
You know,
kick your back leg.
This is the way it is. You just smile and move on. You know, you just have to take it with a grain of salt and know what's important to you.
Well, what's important to me is playing my best, and it's very hard to do when people are kicking me.
Yeah, but don't you think it helps a little bit when you're in a tournament and you're playing 2 feet away from somebody on your left and on your right, and it kind of gets you used to people milling around, and you can see them out of your
Let's hope so.
vision and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Let's hope that it's great training so that when you do go to a tournament and you do get better conditions, that your focus is better. Because if it isn't, then what a waste of time
Well,
it really is.
Right.
Right?
Yeah,
Let's hope it
that's
would
is.
be
what I
like, I
try
would
to
think,
do.
the
If there's
best
some
thing
sort of a
for it.
distraction like that, instead of getting all upset, I'll say, okay, now remember this, and just work with it. Just try
Exactly.
to cut it out and just try to deal with it being there, and you'd be amazed at the results.
But hula hoops.
No hula hoops.
I mean,
All right.
you got to draw the line somewhere. Is kind of
I'll-
the whole point
I'll
to
send
that.
him a message and tell him to never hula hoop in the bar
Oh,
again.
he's probably listening to the show right now. They probably have it in the bar, and they're looking at each other, and they're laughing, and they're like, more hula hoops.
Yeah.
I guarantee you,
let's
I'm going to
try
see
it
hula
again.
hoops for 6 months. No, seriously though, Robin, what do you see as the biggest difference between the Canadian and American darts?
Biggest difference. Well, the
Seating.
first thing that comes to mind, is seating. Plus, we have a longer format. Every tournament we have is best of 5. It's round robin, and we only generally have maybe you're pushing it 3 events in one day. So you still get to play all day, and it's long format, and you get better at the game, I find, instead of trying to cram all the triples and mixed doubles and the singles cricket. And we don't even play singles cricket generally at a lot of tournaments.
Okay. Did you have anything for,
I wanted
for
to
the
ask
ladies?
Kelly who her favorite mixed doubles partner is.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
Wow.
Put you on the spot.
on the spot.
Well, I have 2. In America, my favorite doubles partner is Brian Blake. And if I'm playing anything in Canada or anything far up in the Northeast, Jeff Smith.
Yeah, she stole them right.
Wow. Now there are 2 guys that are exactly alike. I love Brian.
I can play with a lot of different people. Just certain people I really click with, and for some reason I click with the both of them.
That I find that astounding. We haven't had Brian on the show. Brian Blake was the #1 player in America on the ADO list a few years ago, and I know he got in a car wreck, and I haven't seen him, at tournaments much the last couple of years. What is it about Brian that you really enjoy?
I don't know. I can just relax. I just seem to have. It's kind of this unspoken thing. It's just a chemistry I have with him that I just feel like he's got my back, and I feel very comfortable shooting with him.
Whereas Jeff Smith is way shorter than Brian Blake.
Way shorter. But geez, I mean, Jeff Smith's just a phenomenal
So,
shot. I mean,
He's a
just
great shot, but you could
nice.
use him as a hat rack.
So Kelly, you could go up into Canada and Robin and take Robin's partner away from him.
I know.
What
That's not
is-
fair, is it?
There's plenty of guys to pick from.
That's okay. I play with Norm Tremblay when I'm in Canada, so I do okay. And Andre.
This starting to sound like one of those 70s movies. But this is kind of like, we're forced to make all these weird decisions because these events all have triples, doubles, mixed, this, 4-person that. I mean, it just gets to the point where you've got to start grabbing names out of a hat. That's interesting, though, Brian Blake. I haven't seen him lately. Tell him I said hi.
Yeah, all right. I
We
will.
should get him on the show. He'd be funny.
Stanford, right?
Yeah, he'll be in Stanford.
Yeah, I won't be.
All right.
Well, Stanford, I've been to Stanford the last 3 years, I think, and without going into great detail, let's just say that I don't usually go to the U.S. Nationals unless they have qualifiers I can go to qualify. Like, I don't see the point of going to Stanford or Dallas or something if I can't play on Friday.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Stanford's only 4 hours from my house, so.
Well, it's not 4 hours from my house.
No.
No.
If it was 4 hours from my house, it's possible I might stop
I
by.
would think you'd stop by. Yeah.
But after the Classic this year, where they paid out less than 50% of the men's entry fees to the singles, I think that I figured it was time to change some things. It's like, I ripped on Arachnid and their tournament in Chicago that I don't go to because I figured it was a ripoff. I'm certainly, if I don't go to a tournament in Chicago that I feel is a ripoff, how on earth could I go to Vegas to a tournament I think is a ripoff? As
Right.
much as I want to get out of Chicago in January.
Yeah.
which is probably the only reason anybody goes to that tournament.
Right. Yeah.
Did we cover everything?
Pretty much.
Really? Because we're still under 2 hours.
Wow.
We got everything except for
It looks
Oh.
like we covered everything.
other than well, yeah, I've never seen you throw, Callie. But
Oh,
Steve,
okay. Oh, I did. Yeah, I
Steve
had a
tells
question.
me you have a unique delivery, and I was curious.
Yeah,
how you,
I did jot this down to ask Callie.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask how her stroke and how her delivery evolved. If she's throwing the same way she was when she first started, or if she's made changes
From when you
over
were
time.
12.
Yeah.
Yeah, I may have changed some things slightly, but overall, I've always double pumped. And the funny thing was when I first started playing in the Syracuse League, someone said, "Geez, I think you'd be a lot more accurate if you didn't double pump." And I go, "Double pump? What are you talking about?" And he says, "You're double pumping your dart before you throw it." And I had never even realized I did that until he told me that. But I've always thrown that way, and I wouldn't even be able to let go of the dart if I just drew back and threw. I have to double pump it.
Well, there is a kinesiologic argument for not starting from a standstill. So I don't think I've ever noticed you double pump. Are you kind of like part when you do it? You kind of like have
Yes.
like a double stroke there? Oh, okay.
Yes, exactly.
Golfers do it. That's why they waggle.
Mm-hmm.
It's easier to have a little bit of motion before you start than to come to a dead standstill and then start something. And I wonder if that's probably why these guys with the phantom darts is some kind of mental way of doing that. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
I've never seen. Now I'm going to have to watch you. Don't be self-conscious when I whip
Well, I
out the
have
video
video
camera.
on YouTube. I'm sure you can see me there.
Well, maybe I should do that. Maybe I'll go look and see.
Just Google it.
Just
Just Google it. I love it.
what am I? If I Google Callie double pumps, I am pretty sure I'm not going to get any
No,
darts.
you're not gonna get that. Just
Yeah.
just Google my name.
Oh, Google your name.
Oh.
Oh, well, now you say it. Well, you say it like
Wow.
that. Then,
Picture of her shoes.
we
See
can
what
do that.
happens here.
Any
Oh.
before I say anything else, can we get out of here? Do you got anything else for Callie from the chat room?
No, it was really interesting in listening to her talk about our practice and tournaments and like the World Cup being the women's really biggest prestigious event, I guess. So that from being a female player, it's been nice.
Well, good. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it. Thanks
did
for
enjoy
stopping
it.
in.
Thanks for coming by.
Hey, that's nice. Now can we get out of here so I can go to Canada?
Robin Curry and Callie West, thanks so much for coming on the show. I'll see you guys real soon. Don't hang up. Once I stop recording and everything, we'll be around for a while. I want to chat a little bit with you ladies. But
Okay.
thanks
Callie.
again for coming
Thanks,
on the
Robin.
show. For Mystery
Thanks so
Mark
much for having us.
and Chat Room Girl, Steve Pennell signing off. We will dart talk to you. We're back to Wednesdays.
Because it's hump
Uh,
day.
uh,
Love that commercial. I had to say it.
7:30 Central, 8 Eastern,
just lost all
5:30.
control.
Yeah,
We've lost all
okay.
control of this show.
What day
Thanks,
is it?
thanks everybody in the chat room. Thanks everybody for downloading the podcast. We will dart talk to you next week. Everybody, take care.